Alright, so once under, the Damon building over here, so some of the pieces of equipment we put in is this, air handler number 1. We'll start with this piece of equipment, it's the most complex. I think the graphics are slightly different than what you're used to. If you guys have a problem with this, let me know and I can fix it. It's gonna display all the same information, it just has a different feel to it.
So,
We've upgraded to that, to those graphics.
Oh, you have?
Yeah, it's not completely done, but we've got some already done.
Got it. So you guys did like them?
Yeah.
Sweet. Okay, so all my pieces of equipment follow kind of this one strategy of when you log in, you're gonna log into the schematic tab, which you're gonna see in the upper left. And if you want to make set point adjustments, you hit on the set point tab. This is where all your set points are gonna be.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. Yeah, it's up to you. Alex, it's a different one. Oh, it's a different one?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a different one.
No, it's the same. If you guys signed one, you're good. I just passed through this. You have half the room and half the room.
Alright, going on, we also have a notes tab. In this notes tab, you can, say I changed filters or anything you want, any notes you had, and then you can hit save down here and it's gonna save that note.
Anyone else? EOS?
The last tab we have is a trending tab. I'm not sure how familiar you are with these. These should be all Tritium. If you want, you can change the date or the range of the tab or the information you're seeing. Does anyone have any questions about the trending tab? No? Okay, it should be pretty basic. Okay, to go back to schematics. So you guys should be familiar with this. It should look and feel like your other Tritium systems. If you need to override values, you can simply right-click on a value and override or emergency override. Currently, there is no difference between override and emergency override, except that at this time, if you do an override, you can actually put in an amount of time you want it overridden. Whereas if you do an emergency override, it's going to hold that override until someone releases it.
I noticed you got the set.
It's not a different priority, it's just,
I got you. The set option, is you can set point there too, or you have to go to that blue tab?
So all the set points you want to do from this page, all overrides you want to do from the schematic page. So on the right here, you're going to see control. This is what the unit is currently trying to do. So it's in auto mode, it's occupied, it's trying to maintain 55.9 degree discharge. Supply pressure set point trying to maintain is 1.2 inches. The minimum damper position is 100%. This last thing is a software alarm reset. So if you see under a supply fan, it's gonna tell you it's an alarm and it's locked out. And how you clear that alarm is you come up here and you hit reset, and then you put it to reset or trigger, and then it's gonna clear any alarms. It has no alarms right now, so you're good.
You have to put it back to normal after you do that?
You don't have to, but you'll have to cycle it if it alarms again. Is there any questions on this? You guys wanna know about sequence of operation or anything like that?
Yeah, we're tracking that.
Yeah.
When it comes to your, those set points again, can you put in a duration for how long you want that override to be set for?
Yes, so that's what the override is for. So if you go to just override and not emergency override, you're able to put in, any duration you want.
Gotcha.
You have the economizer programming in there anywhere, and is it showing on the set points?
No, just so low. It doesn't have a switch over, it only has the econ low set point. So it'll start driving below minimum position if your mixer hits 45 or lower.
Now, is those numbers drawn off of enthalpy, or is it just like a default number?
That's dry bulb. So how your economizer works is so this is dry bulb, and that's to close this damper. If your mixed air starts dropping below 45, your minimum damper position will actually start modulating down. So you're gonna sacrifice fresh air for protection of your coil.
Okay.
The switch over is based on, it is a wet bulb, and it's compared from outside to your return. There's not a set point for that, but if you want, I can put it on there. I just have it, whatever was in the spec.
So I know right now we're focusing on air done with that, we're gonna jump to the chiller?
We can, yeah.
Those?
So,
Can you at least make that visible?
yeah,
I don't know if we wanna change it though.
I don't wanna change it,
I
I wanna
think
know
just
what it is. though.
visibility, yeah.
so we want to change over, set point for econ.
The visibility of it.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah, you can see that it's available, through this mode over here, you can see that it's enabled, your cooling's enabled, the only thing that's locked out is your heating. These are the lockouts for your heating, 60 degrees, so above 60 degrees it locks out. From here, you can adjust your discharge air set point, it's based on OAT. So at 70 degrees, you're gonna be at 55 degree set point, and at 32 degrees outdoor air, you're gonna be at 65. So you can switch it either at the actual discharge, or you can switch it at the OAT trigger on that reset. Does that make sense? Unoccupied cooling set points. So this is actually looking at your zones. This air handler feeds VAVs and airflow valves. So if 3 or more of those spaces, while unoccupied, exceed 80 or drop below 60, the unit's gonna kick on to an occupied mode until those spaces are satisfied.
It's 3 or more.
Yeah, 3 or more. And now, right now, I have your system set to occupied at 24/7. I didn't see any schedules for the rest of your building, so I just assumed it's 24/7. So, but I will show you how to change that. This is the occupancy command it's getting from your schedule, and if you ever need to override this, you can just come here, right click it, and override it unoccupied.
I actually have a question for you.
Sure.
Is it set to give off a color if somebody overrides something?
Yeah, it'll be purple.
Cool.
So this is an example. Right now, I have your supply fan static overridden. And we have some RFIs going out as to why that's overridden. For now, you can just leave it at 1.2. That's what the balancer left it at. There is a trim program that is in this system that it will actually start ramping up that set point if you're not seeing a differential at your VAVs. And as this ramps, we're actually tripping on high static, so above 3 inches. So we can't get the static we need at the trunks. So, what else? Does anyone have any other questions? There is a couple set points, this return fan CFM differential. This is set by the balancer, I wouldn't mess with that. It controls your return fan speed, and it's just trying to maintain a flow between OA and discharge.
I do have a question. So, I know this was one of the RFIs, so I kind of would like, if you don't mind, going over the control sequencing of the fan coil units and the coils.
Sure.
And how that will operate, because we have the cooling side, and then we have the dual temp side that might also be the cooling side. So I know that's a little weird, but we'll
Yeah.
go over how that's gonna work.
Okay, so to get to the fan coil units, so I navigated back to Jesse, the Damon building, and I'm gonna navigate to the 5th floor. And then I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna hit the floor plans for endoscopy. Alright, so now this is your floor plan. So what we have going on here is you have these little pills, and if it's green, that means it's within set point. If it's blue, it's cold. If it's red, it's hot. Now, if you see this red that's over the space temperature like that, that's an alarm. So right now we're outside of our alarm set points. So this is what she was kind of getting at. Let's wait for this to load. Really dropped this one. Okay, so just like all my other pieces of equipment, I have my schematic tab, my set points, my notes, and my trending. So from here, I can see that the unit is heating, or it's trying to heat. You know, you got a discharge air that's not reflective of hot water, and this is what she was getting at. So the hot water here is not piped into our new heat exchanger in our hot water, it's piped into your dual temp. And as of right now, we have no sequencer operation to actually monitor what's in that dual temp. So this system, as it's programmed right now, thinks there's hot water in there when it's really chilled water. So it's obviously just gonna open the hot water, flooding with chill, and it's gonna overcool the space, which is what we're seeing.
So we're not having reheats when we need them, if it's during chilled water season.
So you don't have reheats, but my question would be, how do the radiators integrate with the fan coil units?
So the radiators are steam, and they follow the exact same set point as this hot water valve command. So if this has a steam coil on it, that valve's 83% open, that steam valve,
No,
for
I
base port.
understand, but
With no heat.
no,
Reheat, yeah.
they won't have reheats, but I'm wondering how that would, like, during that time, if it does require a reheat, how would the radiators factor in?
Well, from my understanding, perimeter heating for those radiators, those are windows washes. So it just creates a barrier between, that's what that is. So that doesn't really have
Won't
any,
heat the room.
no, that's not what those are for. So you don't lose internal temp.
And the steam's not even on yet anyway.
So that-
we still have cooling.
Yeah, so this is a great question for, you know, the engineer, and that's why an RFI was put out. Because what I'm gonna have to do to solve this, and like if there's chilled water in this system, I'm gonna have to disable the heating on it, right? So it can't do this. And if it does that, how you currently have the steam valves, you know, wired in, they're not gonna open those steam valves as well, cause the heat is gonna be disabled. So you won't have any heat.
We can't run it without heat like that. I mean, 63 degrees, I mean, anybody in those spaces are gonna freeze.
Right.
We cannot operate like that. There's no way.
Absolutely,
How
and
did it operate before with the heating? Did it have reheats before?
Yeah,
It did?
yeah, every single room. Cause that's the only way to manage your humidity, you know? That's the only way to manage, yeah.
But it had dual temp lines, where did the reheat come from?
Came from the
The-
hot water circuit system off the heat exchanger in the mechanical room.
Really?
even the fan coil units,
Even the, yeah, even the fan coil units?
No, the fan coil units came off the dual temp line.
yeah, so
So-
they're still the same, yeah.
It's the same setup still. So right now, the fan coil units that are closer to the hall, those have the dual temp, but it's kinda weird, it's like the way the wing is, like this part is connected to the mechanical room.
Are the fan coils on and off sequence due to set point?
Correct, yeah, they cycle.
So I think that's where we had the issue, because we had the pneumatic stats, if the rooms weren't calling, or if the rooms were calling for heat, and we didn't have it,
They would
the
shut off.
fans were shut off.
Mhm. Yeah, and so that's how this needs to be reprogrammed, because when we got it, we thought there was gonna be hot water in that pipe all the time, that's how it was written.
Okay, we thought it was
So-
gonna be tied into the heat
That's
exchangers
what
in
we-
that mechanical space.
That's exactly what we
Makes
thought,
sense.
so that's how we
Right.
programmed it, so now I need to go back and say, I need to get a sensor on that dual temp pipe, and I need to disable it when I see chilled water, and vice versa. If that makes sense. But there's an RFI about this how, because obviously something got missed in the engineering phase.
So we need to revisit the sequence of operations as it relates to the fan coil units.
Yes,
Once
this,
we have the proper programming to address the dual temps. Most importantly, it's gonna be in the shoulder seasons of the year, like what we're seeing now.
right,
So like, right now, when you walk in, your humidity is gonna be low due to the overnight temps. Now we go to tomorrow, what's expected temp tomorrow, 81? Right, so we go to tomorrow, right? Right now, you'll still be a low temp, especially on that side of the building, right? You're gonna get a lot of sunlight, humidity's gonna go up, so it should be calling for reheat, I wanna say no later than 2:30. What are you gonna do then? And those humidity parameters are a lot tighter, being it's endo than it is this conference room.
Again, we tied into existing, like, everything in the room got replaced, but it tied into existing supply in the hall. So, to me, this is something you guys have been dealing with. This is not new. And again, it's not like, I mean, that's my point, we tied into the hall, so I don't know what you guys done before, but this is the same.
Offensive in here.
The problem before, nobody addressed it.
Right.
The one downside I'm gonna be very honest with is, and this is kind of what bid us with any mods, moving forward, it's just, you know, we're at the part where
Yeah.
we'll get RFIs out and we'll get some answers, but, getting it implemented is gonna be a challenge.
I gotcha. Let's stay focused on the training, cause we only got another hour, boys.
Sidebar question,
What's
wasn't
up?
the project supposed to get rid of like problems you had before?
They have to be, they have to, we have to understand what that is first, and what, I'll answer that offline for you.
Yeah, 2018, this was the scope.
Yeah.
So 2024, we're finally, wrapping it up, so unfortunately, definitely some stuff was missed in between.
Yeah, it's okay, it's gonna be better than what it was, so, at least we know that.
Alright, so moving on, I mean, this is pretty basic, none of this stuff is overrideable, it's just stat and integration control, so you just need to do set points. For the end user or the local user, if you wanna disable this stat, you can right click on this and set it. And then you can put it to no set point, and this way they can't change any set points. If you set it, and you do allow them to do set point adjust, they're only allowed to move it up or down 5 degrees, yeah, so you can set that here, so you can say, okay, you're allowed to set it, but only by 2 degrees.
So you can set the parameters then?
Yeah.
Yep.
Don't show Rayford.
Yeah, don't you worry, or Hudson.
Again, you have your occupied heating and cooling set points, I just leave these standard, you can move them if you want. This is from the offset, so like right now it's set for 71 degrees essentially, so if they went change it, you just shift your occupied heating and cooling set points as you do with, yeah. any
Can we
other
see
stat.
that they already had changed the offset on the stat?
No. No, you would only see it on the first page, this effective heating and cooling set point. So if someone, this is what it's trying to maintain right now. So you would see it here, so if someone dropped it by 5 degrees, you'd see your effective heating set point go to 65, and your effective cooling drop by 6.
67.
You still be like an amber color when you lose communication?
Yep. Yeah, amber, yellow is lost communication or fault, red is alarm, purple is overridden. So to go back, here are your unoccupied heat and cool trigger points. These have their own fans, so they will make their own call. Again, here's your scheduled, your effective occupancy and your scheduled coming into it. Do you guys have any questions about these? They're pretty basic, it's just the stat. Okay, I'm gonna go back to the 5th floor, I'm gonna go back to endoscopy, and let's choose a VAV. Give them a moment's boot up. Alright, just like every other VAV I'm sure you're used to, you can see your temperature your zone temp, your effective heating and cooling set points. You can see your damper position, your airflow, what your reheat is doing. This one is overrideable, so it's a damper. You can see your supply air coming in from the unit, 57, you can see your coil open, you can see your discharge, so you know your coil is working. If we go to our set points configuration page, this is set up pretty much the same way as the other stat. You have your occupied heating and cooling. You do have a center set point you can set here. This will automatically shift these two around for you. And then you can disable the stat through here. If you leave it enabled, you can give them a set point max and min. And again, you can see what they're doing by the effective set points. The airflow set points you don't want to set or change, those are set by the balancer, but I have them out here just in case you want to see them. You have your high space temp alarm, your low space temp alarm. These are the points that it triggers an alarm. So if it's higher than 85 or less than 60. Again, you have your effective occupancy and then your scheduled occupancy. Any questions on this one?
You just one question, I'm back on the set point page.
Mm-hmm.
The occupied heat and cool set points, I've noticed they all got lines through them, what's the purpose of that?
I don't want you guys touching them. But you can if you want. But it's just, a lot of people will mess with them and they won't put a deadband in them. And it's stupid enough, it'll let you do that. So if you put it both on 71, like a lot of people go in and they put both the 71 and then you lock it up. Then it doesn't know what mode it's gonna switch into. And honestly, you only need to be messing with this room set point anyway.
What about the alarm trigger set points? Are those adjustable or?
Yep, those are adjustable.
Cause we probably wanna see it sooner than 85 and sooner than 60.
Sure.
I don't think so if they're doing night setback at 80. You have alarms all night long.
I was thinking like 65 and 80.
Having that trend there is pretty dope, when you ain't in the room doing all that weird research.
You definitely wanna go above the night setback temps.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Hey Terry, are there any positive or negative pressure rooms on that, over there?
Yes.
We can go to those now. Did you guys have any questions about the VAVs?
So the VAVs do have the reheats, just the dual fans that do not.
Fan core units?
Yeah, so they all have reheats, but the VAVs and the airflow valves, those are piped into the heat exchanger.
Got it.
So here's an airflow valve. Alright, so these have a lot going on. Alright, so you got your zone temp, your humidity, and your pressure. Just like the VAVs, you can kind of see what the valves are doing. And these are overrideable. You can override the hot water valve as well, the reheat. They do have multiple alarms that will show up both here on this stat and on the physical stat on the wall. Now, whatever color you see here, it's the same color it's on the wall. So if it's green here, it's green there. If it's red here, it's red there.
So they're tied into that sensor.
Correct. Now, right now, I have all the alarms disabled. You guys can come in here and you guys can turn on any alarm you want. I don't know what alarms you guys want, you guys can specify. So I gave you all the options and you can just enable them. For the temp, here's the offset. If it's 5 degrees above or below set point, it's gonna trigger an alarm. Same with humidity at 20 degrees or 20% relativity. Just like the VAVs, you can disable the local stat. And then the min and max they can currently set it for is 85.
Yeah, so we have procedure rooms, that are pressured. We have a scope staging and a scope reprocessing. The problem is the scope staging did not have the pressure sensor showed in scope, so we missed that one. But we are working with Chemtrack to get that in there. So
Okay.
unfortunately, you're gonna have two systems. You're gonna have Johnson Control mainly, but for that one room, Chemtrack, because again, we're having so many issues with mods that we're taking care of it outside of the project.
The scope room was always the trouble room all the time before.
Yes, yeah,
And that was missed.
That was the one they were trying to put in the bed tower, right?
The-
That one room?
Terry,
the scope
you built with it
reprocess.
before, bro.
Huh? Yeah, constantly adjusting manual dampers in the ceiling, trust me, it's not fun.
Yeah, it's gonna, well, so just so you know, the scope processing, that's the one that was like getting wet and stuff, cause they would have the metavators in there.
Mhm.
The scope staging, they are also gonna get new cabinets that are supposed to help with humidity control and stuff like that, so we'll have that additional.
More HEPA
hopefully-
filter cabinets, guys.
Hopefully, yeah, you're gonna have them, for sure, for sure.
So I'm just realizing now I don't have it on here, but at the local sensor, you can say, I want this room positive pressure, negative pressure, or neutral pressure, and you can set a set point on it. And that's through the display. Each one of these airflow valves has, like on the outside of the room, you have your monitor, and then they actually has a space temperature sensor in the space. So when I'm talking about the isolation, if you wanna do a, negative, positive or neutral pressure, you would do it through this sensor, the display.
So real quick, just like a procedure room, are you gonna have everything set up ahead of time, as in if it requires double positive or double negative, whether it be, is that all gonna be pre-programmed ahead before it's released?
I wanna say it will be, because we're gonna have the tab and we're gonna do commissioning, and they have to vet that those rooms are gonna meet that. I'll note it, but yeah.
Yeah, so what I'll need for that is just the set points for each room and what it is, 'cause that's what I don't have. Did you guys have any questions on these airflow valves? What else do I have? Oh, yeah, chiller, let's go with chiller.
Yeah, we could do the heat.
So you got the air handler and you have the VAVs on there, the humidifier's not on, BAS?
Wait, sorry, say it one more time?
Huh?
The humidifier, is that on the control?
It is. This hasn't been, that has not been commissioned yet, so that's not in, we're not, that's not.
Is that gonna be a separate screen for the humidifier, with that tabletop humidifier? As in
Great
pressures and water and temperatures and all that stuff, and steam pressure coming in and all that?
Great question, I don't know.
Okay.
I think that was,
That-
that's R5, isn't it?
That's another R5.
We are including it.
Okay, so then it
But
will.
making sure that it gets to you, cause I know that question did come up, but.
Yeah, cause under our scope was an isolation valve and a modulation valve, which is on here, but then it actually has its own like smart board that we're waiting on some information. Okay, chiller. So this is on the 6th floor. This feeds the endo wing. So this is pretty simple. You can see all the information just like you can on every other. You got your schematic, set points, notes, and trending. It's off right now. So when it's off, you have these two changeover valves, and what they do is they divert water from either the chiller, the 6th floor endo chiller as I call it, or the campus chiller. So right now, it's just pulling water from the campus chiller.
All right, one question with that then, campus chiller's coming off in a few weeks. Are you guys gonna have it glycol in?
No.
No
glue?
glycol.
No
No
glycol, there is just normal. It has reheat lines, no glycol on this chiller, just to confirm. I know that there is some back and forth, but no glycol. So we don't have an issue related to mixing campus or, chiller water.
There's no glycol in this system, whatever, and you're saying we're not supposed to glycol it? Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Yes. The MNO has,
Oh, Lord, okay.
No. Wait a minute, make sure I understand this correctly. So this unit sits outside,
Yes.
right? I'm pretty sure, and I saw the insulation, pretty sure it has heat trace.
Mhm.
But you're not supposed to have any percentage of inhibited propylene glycol in it to run it in low ambient conditions?
Correct, that is what the AE stated,
No glycol.
no glycol.
This was the issue, it is the last time in the meeting, if you remember, if we talked about it.
I was not there for that one.
Okay,
We
we'll
did.
talk about it here.
We don't-
And there was a contamination issue too between the campus and the chiller. And
The
it didn't-
campus and energy plant?
Yeah.
Right, I'm tracking that, but that's not even, they didn't even definitively conclude if that propylene glycol, we even created that. You'll get biofilm from not conducting preventative maintenance. But anywho, so
And we-
how was that system supposed, I'm sorry
No,
to speak,
go ahead.
but how is that system, what is that system designed to run at?
So that's a great question.
In the drawing.
So it is in the drawing, so what they said is if you weren't maintaining campus temperature, then that chiller would come on. Or if the temperature got below 70 degrees. So basically, when it's below ambient temp, 70 degrees, it's on, that's what it is. So I have it set for 80 right now, we can go ahead and drop it down to 70 and it will turn over. I'll drop that to 65.
And the chiller will turn over, right? But as far as ambient temperatures outside, we're in climate zone 5. So not last year, but the year before, past 5 years, we average a polar vortex. So there's a reason why we introduce inhibited propylene glycol to the system so we can operate at negative 35. Not saying it's gonna get that low,
Right.
but usually systems of this size they're designed for like maybe at most 35 degrees. But once you start getting below 32 degrees, you're gonna start, freezing, or most of your runtime is going to be eaten up in defrost. So how is this system able to do that without glycol?
You mean like operate? But I think it's only meant to operate during like shoulder months, not during winter time.
Is this 100%
But I'll
air
confirm, I'll confirm.
or is this a mixed air?
Because we don't have
It's,
the energy
mixed
plant
air.
in the winter time.
This is a mixed air.
Oh, you're right,
This
yeah,
isn't
this is
100% outside air like the
I'll
old
call
unit.
it.
Right.
Oh, it was, I didn't know what the
The
old
old unit was
was.
100%
100%
outside air.
right.
So this is not an outside air.
No, it has a minimum damper, a minimum air damper, and it has its other.
It's got mixed air.
So I have another question then.
Nobody's putting any heaters up.
If this is not going to be glycol, can there be, on the controls, I don't even recommend not having glycol, but can there be at least something on the controls that can indicate what the heat trace temperatures of the water pipes are to make sure that they're working?
That would be very helpful.
If we can physically see, okay, the heat trace line
Make sure
area
it's
is
not gonna, yeah.
56 degrees or whatever compared to 40.
And then with that said too, just to piggyback on that, I like that idea. The same philosophy that I got during pressure differential. Let's say we know we're freezing, especially if the water's not moving, we know we're gonna start freezing, call it 35, 36, right? So can we color coordinate these echelons? So let's say the green area would be, just throwing numbers out, 80 to 75 degrees, right? The amber area would be 74 to 63, and then we start getting into red. Even though it reflects the number, can we have a color coding? Can you program it that it's color coded to reflect?
If I can get that temperature, I can.
Okay.
Now, EOS, you might know this. Do you guys know if the heat trace is being controlled by the chiller? Because we're not controlling the heat trace. I believe it's controlled by that piece of equipment.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure, I can find out.
Okay, because if it's in that chiller, there's a possibility I could pull it in. I doubt there's gonna be a pipe sense, well, yeah, I could probably get the.
Or even an
count.
amp draw indicating that it's working.
Right.
Some
Yeah,
kind
no,
of
yeah,
indication.
status, yeah, I know what you're saying, so I can look at heat trace status, but like actual the temp of that, water, I
Right.
don't know if I.
Yeah.
I get that, but even maybe an amp draw.
Yeah, cause
That
it's
is
not gonna be
activated.
flowing, so I can't use any like sensors that are.
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
so as far as, your radiant or, your dropping temperature as it goes like red to green or whatever, I can't do it if I don't have a temperature sensor.
I understand.
One last question then, outdoor piping, such as the chiller and the piping going to the chiller right through the wall, is that double insulated?
Should be double insulated.
So it's double insulated and,
Fire.
and heat trace?
Yeah.
I'm still concerned about the coil.
I'm incredibly concerned about the cold.
Is it easy to get a coil up there?
One thing that we can do, and it's something we might have to do a procedure on, is drain the coil when we know we get the cold weather continuously for a long time. We can always add water back into it to fire it up if it gets warm out.
I understand that.
But I still don't wanna do it, but we gotta protect that coil.
It's 2024, you know what I mean? Like the,
Yeah.
If there is a point you can drain it out, just the coil outside?
yeah, there is, but I hate to say it, that's like an archaic approach to what we have here.
Even the architect, when we talked to, he didn't even have in mind that it was glycol.
Incredible. Let's move on.
You know?
Sure. Did you guys have any questions about the chiller? It's pretty simple to operate. You got your cool enable set point, and then you got a chill water pressure set point. We have alarms that will come through. I guess I should have said this on all the pieces of equipment. Under every piece of equipment under set point tabs, I have a brand, a model, and a serial number. If you want, you can put that information in just by setting it.
Yeah.
And then it's there for you, so you don't have to go up to the unit.
That's what the signals have. The trending, I'm sorry, Malik, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say that trending tab is pretty neat. Could you, I'm pretty sure you're gonna walk through it. There we go, too easy, you're ahead of me there. For additional points, would you have to do it as if you were in the, I wanna say the front end, like you had to go over to that little plus
Yeah,
sign?
this
Okay.
little trend thing.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you can add it, so this is kind of what was here for you guys already, so I just left it here.
Okay,
Whoever did your original. And then I just kind of put on points I thought were important for you guys on all the trending tabs that you'll see under my piece of equipment. If you really wanna see something and you're getting used to it, just let Paulina know or EOS know, and I'll get it on there at some point.
okay. Sounds good. It's a beautiful graphic.
exchanger.
Alright, so the heat X system is perfect, we have a bump and alarm, so you can see what it looks like. Again, just like every other piece of equipment we've gone through, you got schematics, set points, nodes, trending. We can see our effective DAT right here. We can see our supply temp. It is trying to control this supply temp up here, so it's actually pretty right on. Good timing. You can see what the heat exchangers are doing down here. So you got your 1/3 modulating up. You can see that the maintenance switch is enabled. That just means that heat exchanger, those two valves are enabled. It's trying to maintain a hot water pressure of 1.5. That was set by the balancer. It is way over right now. This pump is in hand. I don't know exactly why it's in hand, but we're gonna get to the bottom of that. So here's an example of an alarm. So you come in and you see this hot water pump 2 is in alarm. And so what you do, just like the air handlers, you come up here and reset it. And hopefully it should clear. Back to normal. So there it cleared, and then it would go back into normal operation. If it goes back into alarm, you know you have something up.
So they were both commended, oh yeah, they were both commended on, and then alarm obviously commended it off. Yes.
Yeah, right now, one of these pumps are in hand. I didn't release them before I came over, so I'll get to the bottom of that. So, under here, we have our hot water reset based on OAT, similar to the air handler's DAT reset. So at 30 degrees or below, it's gonna modulate to 170 degrees, and at 65 or above, it's gonna go to 140.
So right now, I'm
Running
seeing,
a lot, the pump went off.
Yeah, it's in hand.
Good. So is that hot water system glycol?
You guys know that?
I don't think there was any glycol on this.
Well, that kinda makes sense.
Yeah, that's weird.
Why that one wouldn't be, yeah, that makes, it needs to be,
Interior, but still.
we're flirting with it.
2 questions. Can you go back to this? Narrative. 1, is the hot water pumps gonna automatically rotate to maintain equal hours?
Yes.
Lead lag,
Is there an
There
hour
are lead
meter
lag-
for them that we can see the hours on them?
Their lead, lag, and runtime, I'll add it for you.
thank you.
Okay. And then I have another question too. Same thing with the heat exchangers.
Those are not. They do 1 and then 2, and they only switch on these maintenances. They don't do runtime. I'm assuming you want a runtime?
I prefer, yeah, if we can rotate them back and forth, otherwise they won't get, switched over and everything's gonna go on one.
what else do we wanna see around there for? You
The
said
pumps,
Just the pumps?
pumps
And the heat
and the heat
exchangers.
exchangers. And have those do an auto switch over on a weekly schedule or whatever.
Can I do hours, or do you want a week?
Hours is fine too.
Hours is
Just
perfect.
somehow or another where it can switch itself over. And of course, obviously, if it's not maintaining enough, if they both come on, I get it, so.
These heat exchangers, there's like 2 ways people program these, and I do the older school way where you do 100% 1/3, and then 1/3 will stay at 100%, it'll slowly start cracking open to 2/3.
Okay.
Nowadays, you see like the 1/3 will actually start closing as the 2/3 opens.
Yeah. No, the way you set it up is fine.
Perfect. So if you wanted to disable either of these, you just come in here and hit this maintenance switch and you just switch it to disabled, and then it won't allow that heat exchanger to operate. So if there's a call of 95%, so if like you get to heated 2/3 valves and it starts going over 95%, it's gonna start kicking on the second.
Right, if needed, correct.
Yeah, if needed. You can lower that or raise it, obviously not above 100. I guess any questions? Let's go back. And I think I only got one more thing to show you. Oh, I got 2 more. So if I go to 5th floor again, I have a schedule. I didn't see a lot of these, so I don't know if you guys have ever manipulated these. They're super simple. So I can just click and drag, and now on Sunday, it's gonna be occupied between 6:30 and 7 p.m. You can also right-click on this and apply it Monday through Friday. You can just select something and hit delete on your keyboard. You can right-click, you can clear day, delete event. It's very simple. You wanna hit save before you leave, or if you try to navigate away, it's gonna ask you if you wanna save changes. Let me go back to that. Did you guys wanna occupy 24/7? I guess I should ask you.
Right now, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we can change that later. So I don't know how they're gonna wanna keep the procedure rooms
Let alone if we can even achieve that.
or the, even the scopes. So we have to find out on that.
What else do I have for you guys? I think that's it.
As far as the air handler, I know I came in a little late. As far as shutting the air handler down, how exactly is that done based on this with this graphic?
So you can come here and you can right click on this occupancy and you can go unoccupied.
And both VFDs, all commands will shut down?
Yeah, it's gonna start slowly shutting down. So you can see that it's already in the fan mode. It's closing dampers. It looks like a return fan is cycling off. Yeah, it's slowly kicking off.
Okay.
You can also override the fan off, the one command. You can inactive it if you want. Same with these. It's definitely best just to unoccupy it, let it do its thing.
Right. Okay.
And just real quick on my graphics, if you see like a fan moving or a pump moving, that's related to the status, not the command, if that makes sense.
Yeah, well, the status is still saying on.
Yeah.
It hasn't shut down yet.
No. It's not fully shut down.
Usually it takes for it to fully shut down.
It did already.
There we go.
Alright, I think that's what I got for you guys on the front end. Do you guys have any questions or anything?
Is that temp sensor gonna get fixed right there at the, after heating coil?
After heating coil?
You know?
It's a great question, I don't know yet. There's actually no space for it. The coils are like touching each other.
It's one of them. Gotcha.
No, that's not good. So it's the after.
Pat that
It's the
down.
after heating coil.
Pat
The
that
pre,
down.
the preheat coil now.
Can I change that color?
That is a very, very, very tight unit. I don't know if you guys have gone over there. It's very, very tight.
Stacked up like that.
Dokey. Did you guys have anything else, or? If you guys have any questions, concerns, comments, any changes, I can definitely come back. These are customizable graphics. They should be customized to your needs. So whatever you guys need, just let me know, and I will get it fixed.
The only thing I have on my list for you would be, again, kind of we'll check on that after coil temperature. And also, again, going back to the brand, serial number, model number, I know you guys seem to like that. Is that input, or will the guys have to input? Who's putting in that information?
So we leave that up to you guys. You can also change like the graphic tag, like I call it AHU1 Endo, you guys might call it something else. But yeah, all that information we leave up to you if you wanna put it in or not.
Cool. As far as the notes, like the lead lag, the status, to see if you can get, just the command on the heat trace, pretty sure you're gonna need a couple of days. Just when do you think we'll be able to see that reflected on the graphic?
So that's not in our scope, right? So that'll have to be a while. I don't even know if it's possible. I don't know what's controlling that heat trace. I don't know if it's tied into the chiller. I'm very ignorant of it.
Gotcha. Okay,
So you're saying the hot water pumps and the heat exchanger, the
need to go through that product data
No, that is
For
included, he was
this-
talking about the heat trace.
for this
Oh,
chiller.
the heat trace.
The heat trace on the chiller, so that heat trace is kicked
Dollars for
on,
donuts and things not designed to operate
I agree.
like
I don't
that.
know if it's called, yeah,
I agree.
we'll have to confirm how that's.
But it's a good point.
Somebody else.
Yeah.
So that's what's wrong with that.
Where's the, manuals for that chiller?
Manuals have been sent.
Yeah, I know I got one.
So right now, I'm storing so here's just a heads up, because I don't have like a good area to share it with you guys. We have it currently all stored in our projects folder, I just don't know
On the
of a
shared drive?
way. Mhm.
Okay.
I don't know of a
Pretty sure
way
it's one of the
to.
actual children itself too.
Yeah, it is. I got access to that folder, Paulina, thanks, I appreciate it. So I'll be able to, once I get that folder out.
Okay, so the only thing I guess I need from you is those set points.
For the temperatures that we're talking about, the different.
Yeah, and the pressure set points, and if the isolation
Oh,
rooms
yeah.
are negative, positive, neutral, and what the parameters are.
One last thing too is, I'm pretty sure you already have it, Paulina, I just wanna make sure this gets captured.
Yes.
For those scope rooms, there's a humidity parameter too. And, I don't know if, are you going with Cetrus for the room monitors, the RPMs?
No, everything is done through the Johnson.
Okay.
The new Johnson, but because of that scope staging, that's where it won't have the temperature, humidity, or pressure for that room. I was working with, Bill Higgs said he had the Temtrack, contractor on site yesterday, actually.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna follow up with him and kind of just make sure, I sent him what I wanted,
Okay,
so I'll just make sure if he actually did it,
cool.
so.
Just wanna make sure that's captured somewhere.
Yes.
I know it's like 5 different monitoring systems. As long as somebody's monitoring it, whether it's Cetra, JCI, Facility Explorer, it just has to be captured. And there has to be a repository of its data somewhere.
Yes.
That's about it.
Yeah, that's another thing actually that I wanna follow, cause when we go back to the pressure sensors, is there, I know you had the trends, but does that show the trend of that room staying consistently within, pressure, humidity, and whatever else it was?
So I do have a pressure, but, and you can see it, I need to make it more sensitive. But if you give me exactly what you wanna see and how long you need that record for, then I can make you a unique trend. I can even email you a report.
Okay, okay.
Can you go back to the schematic tab on the air handler? Okay, thanks. I just saw the return coming up and not supply of its own now.
Yeah, I make this fan ramps pretty slow, it's having trouble with it, like, hunting a little bit, just cause of how it's small it is, so it ramps very, very slow on startup.
I haven't worked on an AR unit that doesn't do that.